But even in constructed, yeah, it has to be turn 85. Maybe in PvE. I don't know. I mean, who knows what they're doing there? But in PvP, it's just too risky. You're going to play it, and they're going to kill you. That's what's going to happen. You're going to play it, and you're going to die every time.
Yeah, even if you were to rush this as fast as possible, you would need 3 regular mana and probably 1 like Hex engine in the colorless. And then by turn 4 you get it out, you still have to survive for 3 turns, and everybody who plays this game is going to kill you in 7 turns if you don't do anything.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they have so much time to kill you.
And it drops all your defenses, too. So, like, even if you set up good defenses, this card is just asking for trouble.
The only thing about it is life gain. Like, you have to basically play Eternal Youth, like, probably 4 or 5 times before you play Trial of Faith. Like, okay, yeah, I guess if you draw 5 Eternal Youths, sure, all right, you're good to go. You can play Trial of Faith, no problem at that point. But, good luck playing 5 Eternal Youths. That's a lot. By that point, you literally could have killed him. Like, why not just play the King Gabriel? That's way better. Like, it comes to play on turn 7 either way. But, if it's not turn 7, whatever. Anyway, it's terrible. I wouldn't play it. And I think Richard agrees.
Yes.
So overall, I think the white cards, I think white is a pretty weak color. The white weenie deck, I think, is missing some aggressive dudes. It seems basically less aggressive than red or black, and not... There are some elements of control. I think I would definitely play some white cards in a black-white or blue-white control deck. Particular King Gabriel is a finisher. I do like that guy, and I like Eternal Youth. Also, apparently, Aesthetic Aspirant maybe has some possible uses. I'll believe it when I see it. I don't believe it yet.
Yeah. White as a color, or diamond in this case, it's not terribly exciting right now. There's some okay limited cards. King Gabriel's pretty cool. I like Ascetic Aspirant. I think it might actually prove to be a pretty decent card. But on the whole, it's not very good. I don't see a whole, pull for me to play white. I just think the other colors have much better cards to offer.
Granted, all of this is under the, the filter of this is what we see right now. I think Red-White Inspire is probably going to end up being a legitimate deck by the time they release the rest of this set, but that's also just an assumption that they're going to release more cards that will help the decks out.
That's true, actually, yeah.
There's plenty of cards still to be spoiled in white and the other colors, but, just from what I can see right now, I'm not very excited about white.
Yeah, like right now there's limited to no card draw in a lot of the colors, and before conclusions, there's one more card we haven't discussed, and that's Chimera Guard. And I pulled it up on my stream if you want to check that out.
Okay, yeah, Chimera Guard, it's an 0/4 for 4 with a single white threshold. When this troop attacks, it gets plus power equal to its defense. So it attacks as a 4/4 for 4. It blocks as an 0/4 for 4. If you have any tricks to pump its toughness with like Inspire Guys or Charge or whatever, it can be better, or Radiant Armor. Oh, sweet combo. But I don't know, it's just like a 4/4 for 4 on the attack and worse than that on the block. Probably decent in limited. I'd actually probably be pretty happy to play 4/4 for 4 that attacks, and it blocks well. It's probably going to block most creatures and not die. Constructed, not so good.
People are talking in the chat about this guy in Radiant Armor. Like, okay, that's cool. You've made a big guy with no abilities that only does well on the attack. On the defense, he's just like a giant wall.
Yeah.
And then they're going to play a murder and you're going to die. Like, in Constructed, this is obviously terrible. Yeah, and I do not want to play Radiant Armor. Are you like, what if you don't draw your Outrider? Then your Radiant Armor is just sitting in your hand doing nothing? Like, it's... Oh my god, get out of here.
Like, even if you got him up to, 10 defense, they'd still just throw a chump blocker in front of him.
He doesn't have Crush. If he had Crush, then we can start talking about this guy being the real deal. But it's just a big dude with no abilities. Like, he just gets blown up by anything. They can block him all day. And it requires you to play a bad card to make him good. You never want to do that in a TCG. It's just the worst thing ever. If you ever draw your bad card, not your good card, unless your good card is... you're down a card. You're like, the only time that's ever good is in a combo deck. That's the only time playing bad cards to make your good cards better is worth it.
And let's start this card is not like particularly exciting by itself too. It's like
No,
they're
it's just
both
acceptable.
mediocre to bad cards to make a somewhat good card.
Not even a good card. Just like a
big dude.
10-10, a 10-10 for 5, which is good. I'd play a 10-10 for 5, but not
Yeah.
if it costs 2 cards.
And
Yeah.
speaking as far as White Inspire has gone so far, there's no crush. So, I mean, they can just chump block it if you do manage to get him to a 10-10.
Yeah, and then attack back. And he can't even block effectively. Like, he's not like a huge threat. They can attack into him, no problem. He's just a OX, so they can literally attack into him every turn, leaving one guy back, and then, like, that's it. You can't block effectively, and if you attack, they just lose the guy of their choice, and then, whatever. I don't think it's that great.
Another
I do think Red White Inspire could be something, but that's mostly the power of the red cards, though, not the white cards.
Another strike against that, like Radiant Armor combo is, just you're asking to get 2 for 1. Like if they kill your guy, you've lost Radiant Armor and your dude, which is just another reason to not want to go all in on that plan.
Yeah, Murder is a really good card.
Yeah.
Or Repel, or
Yeah.
that white one that kills it, or basically anything. Like anyone that doesn't do damage to him that's good enough. Yeah, white's pretty weak. Like. But I do think white. The elements of white that are good with other colors, like red, white, inspire, black, white, control. Like those kind of things are good. But white by itself is going to be the sort of minority color. In an ironic change of events, white is now the minority in most decks. Yeah, so that's what we think about white. I think we can all agree on that. The chat was saying that it's kind of boring. We agree on everything. Yeah, white is. I mean, the cards are pretty straightforward. There isn't a lot of tricky stuff here. I think we might disagree more of opinions on other colors.
Yeah, that's one of the things. A lot of white cards are just super straightforward, and as like veteran card players, we kind of see, similar views on these cards.
Yeah. But I do think that there is some elements. Anyone in the chat have any questions or comments they want to make? We can talk about things, talk about decks, talk about the way cards interact, the way anything. If so, I will totally answer them. And yes, we are interviewing champions. We're going to do that last, after the artifacts. We'll review the champions. The thing about the champions is that most of them, the abilities are pretty minor. Like, they don't have a lot. They're not going to affect the game that greatly. So they kind of just, you pick the best one that goes in your deck. As far as I've seen, there isn't any build around me champions yet. The best one, like, draws a card or gets like a +2/+2. That's it, occasionally. And that's great. Like, that's fine. I'll take free card draw or free pumps, but that's not, like, super duper spectacular. But yeah, we will review them. Probably in, I don't know, a month?
Probably when we do colorless.
Yeah, we'll do them along with the artifacts. Other questions that we can answer for you?
Or any cool
Or
combos.
anything.
Yeah, like this one guy, Chemos of Bones, mentions the Blessing of the Fallen plus the Legionnaire of Gawain. Again, we're in that red-white Inspire deck, which actually does look fairly promising so far. Like, with the cards released, I think that's a totally playable deck, and with more to come, it'll probably be good.
Norlund talks about mechanics. Okay, so the build your guy. Okay, well, Acidic Aspirant in particular, we discussed him. The problem with him is that he turns from a pretty cool guy into a terrible guy, into a great guy. But it's that middle portion that's not good. He doesn't naturally get stronger. He naturally gets weaker. And if they can kill him in the Enlightened Seeker state, you just got hugely blown out.
That's true, but I think that he's not going to spend very much time in the Enlightened Seeker state. You're going to leave him as a 3/4 until you're ready to like go into Transcended mode. So the way I see it is you're going to have your untapped Ascetic with 5 cards in hand. Pass turn, he's going to be a 3/4 this whole time. At the end of their turn, you're going to turn him into Enlightened Seeker. Just for a brief moment, you untap, and now he's Transcended. So I don't think he's really going to put that damper on you to not play cards and be a super weak creature for very long, unless you want to milk him for the extra card a turn, which that's super greedy. So
It's super greedy.
I think most of the time he's going to be in Enlightened Seeker mode for a very short amount of time, just right before you transform him.
Yeah. In general, other cards like that, I mean, they're fine. If every stage, okay, if the first stage is good and they sort of get more powerful, like in I don't know if you guys actually played Magic or not, but if you did, there was a mechanic called Level Up a few years ago, and Level Up was pretty good, especially in Limited. In Constructed, it never really made it except for a couple of cards. But for the in Limited, they were great. Like, you play them early, and then they get more powerful over time, so that's fantastic. The ones that were good tended to be ones you could get to their max level very quickly. And their max level had to also be particularly good. There was really 2 or 3 that were really good. There was the Dragon Lord, there was the white guy who became a 4/4 double strike pretty fast, and the Merfolk Lord that became a 4/4. But in Limited, they were all great. So I think all the sort of evolve your guy type mechanics are going to be great in Limited. I would even play the Aspirant just because his base stats are good. And yeah, like, you wait long enough, if you can build up a bunch of lands in your hand or something, I don't know. Anyway, he's 3/4, which is great on his own. But there haven't really been too many of those guys yet. So, yeah.
Yeah, about the whole like transforming and multi-stage creatures, I think it's pretty cool. The fact that they can have entire cards devoted to each stage is pretty cool. Like them being a digital card game as opposed to Magic, where you have to write everything on one card. I think it opens up some cool design space, but Aspirant is, I think, the only card like that we've seen. But I don't know, it's exciting that they have, the potential to do cool things with stuff like this.
Let's see.
In the chat, they're talking about Coral Helm Commander and how that being played in Legacy, but
I don't think he's actually played in Legacy anymore.
he's in Legacy Fish, but
I don't
he
even
only-
know if he's there anymore, though. I don't know. Maybe he is.
well, if he, okay, maybe he is, maybe he's not. I think he still is, but regardless, he evolves very quickly. Like, he levels up fast, so they'd have to do something like that. Leveling up slowly is kind of a problem for Constructed because you waste too much time. Like, you can't spend too many turns evolving your guy to get blown out by a murder. You just waste tons of time. So what, tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but next time we do this, be, what's the next letter here? I guess Sapphire? No, Ruby. I know the alphabet. Yeah, Ruby next, which is my, I think my favorite color, maybe. It's tied with Wild. I really like Red-Green. I think Red-Green's the way to go. That's a deck I'm going to play when it comes out. But there are really good cards in Ruby. I'm very excited about reviewing that. I'm going to be going gaga over everything. Well, not everything, but a lot of things. I think that there's a lot of good stuff there.
Except head games.
Yeah, except Head Games. Head Games, a giant troll. Don't play that card ever. I'm going to repeat that every time, every stream, on the forums.
Unless you were playing against Baron. Then play it every game and just see if you can get him to quit.
Oh, man, I will rage quit so hard.
Free
Find
win
me,
against him.
play Head Games. I will leave the game.
You get your free win.
Get your free win for playing Head Games. I hate you. I hate you. Know that I will hate you forever. Do that. Not only that, you're a bad player. Might get a win against me, but it's not good, and you'll never win a pizza cube out of me. So don't worry about it. But yeah, in terms of Diamond, though, any final thoughts, gentlemen?
Not really. I'm hoping to see some more exciting cards rather than just like straightforward creatures and life gain stuff.
I like the Inspire elements, but right now, white and colorless have no way to like draw cards. It's just increased mana, and that really doesn't help Aesthetic Aspirant. And
That's true.
all that stuff right now.
Yeah, like part of my like of Aesthetic Aspirant is going to be like pairing him with either Blood or Sapphire, because those are the colors that can draw extra cards. I didn't really say that earlier, but thought it was obvious.
They're saying that colorless has some card draw in the chat. I'm not sure what cards
Where is
he's talking about. There's like the cycling adaptable infusion device. That's not really card draw.
Yeah.
I'm looking for other cards that actually draw a card. That's draw more than one card. Drawing one card isn't good enough, because that doesn't actually draw you any cards.
Yeah, it ends up breaking even.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any card draw. Well, drawing and discarding cards doesn't get you anywhere. Not for it to have 7 cards in your hand. Let's do anything for you.
I had 7 cards at one point. Does that count? Oh,
Then I-
damn.
6. Infusion device. What the heck card is that?
Secret Lab is draw